One. Hello, and welcome back to Read.Watch.Play. This is episode numero dos.
Yes.
For those of you watching, that is Spanish.
A couple other languages too.
Do you know any other languages?
A little bit of Portuguese, a little bit of Italian. But of course they're all romantic languages, so I have a shot.
I have with me, I'm a little under the weather. That's why Cliff is a little further away from me than normal. I have with me my Shield Hydra cup with a little chai spice tea.
I'm hoping it's going to keep all of that over there.
Yeah, hopefully it will. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you're new, we simply talk about what we read, talk about what we watched, and talk about what we played. You see that? You see that?
Yeah.
Wow. We talked a lot last week. It was our first show, so we talked a lot about what we watched. We actually skipped a little bit of what we played, so we're going to definitely make sure we hit that.
We didn't touch what we played whatsoever.
Not at all. So we just had a little rundown. We're going to talk a little bit about today's comics that came out. Cliff has a lot of the DC flavor, and I will have a little Star Wars flavor and a book that I was very excited about. I'll just tell you it's about the main man. So then we'll talk what we watched, only a couple things, and then we'll get into what we played. Origins just happened, including HeroClix World Championships and U.S. Nationals. We'll touch a little bit on the World Championship winning team. And then, in fact, on next week, we're going to have an interview with the HeroClix World Champion, Howard Brock. And he'll go in depth. That'll be a recorded interview between now and then, and he'll go in depth as to his team and everything happened. And he's double champion this year.
Really?
Team World. Him and his son Easton.
No, he did not win Team World.
And his friend, they won Team Worlds the next day. So he is double champion. You should see the mountain of product that man has.
It's like a wall of product.
It is. It's a wall of product.
Oh,
our good friend Kenny Pena helped carry it to his hotel, and he was very.
Could you imagine that kind of win?
All I saw were these thin boxes that I didn't recognize. And I said, "What are those?" And then it occurred to me they're factory sets.
Yeah.
Factory sets.
Factory
Do you think he
sets
got a factory set of Deadpool?
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Do you think he'll give me the rainbow chase, the unicorn Deadpool chase?
Why would Howard give that to you?
Probably, I don't know.
I don't know. What all?
Because I'll ask.
I think we have. I think we both have a better chance of winning the lotto.
Stranger things have happened.
That
All
is
right. So let's jump right into it.
I'm playing every week.
We actually have a lotto here at work, but
You do a pool?
yeah, we do a pool. I never do it.
Why?
Because I just don't. I don't like to gamble. I went to Las Vegas.
That's
for
ridiculous.
gambling.
That's ridiculous.
It's not. Why is it ridiculous?
No, I understand, not gambling. I get it. I get slot machines, poker chips, rolling dice. But come on, it's group pool lotto. Do you know that they have a 46% success rate in New York? That it is the lotto winners as groups?
Let me tell you a story. Okay, Stefan, our assistant store manager,
Mm-hmm.
his mother was a part of one of these group lottos.
Did they
All
have
right?
signed agreements?
I don't know about
You do
the
a signed agreement.
Fine, sure. Okay, let's imagine that they signed it.
I'm imagining it didn't because
it's irrelevant.
This story sounds like it sucks.
It's irrelevant to the story.
You can take that person to court. Just remember that.
So the 1 week she didn't put money in, they win.
Of course.
And she got nothing.
Yeah.
So my philosophy is, if I don't put any money in any week, I'm guaranteed not to get anything.
In the meantime, my philosophy is you throw in your $2 every damn week, and when they do win, yay!
Oh my god!
I'm getting in.
All right.
You just told me about it. I'm going to join the lotto
Fine.
pool.
Join the lotto
Every
pool.
week I'm going to be like this.
All right. Let's move on to what did we read.
People spending $4 on coffee can't throw themselves into a lotto pool. Not that you spend $4 on coffee.
All right, Cliff, tell us what you have been reading.
Well, I guess I'll start with Axel. It's one of the new Catalyst Prime books. Joe Illich, who I happen to absolutely love and adore, is the editor for this line of books, and the whole company is comprised of what am I going to say this? Everyone in this company is basically from minority group, male, female, and they've really come and brought their talents together to make their own line of comics.
Is this anything like Image 2.0?
I want to call it, Image 2.0 or 3.0. In my mind, Image already became its own 2.0.
Okay.
At one point in time. When it stopped being stuff like Youngblood and started becoming stuff like, Invincible or Walking Dead. So I'll call it Image 3.0, but I love it. I love that it's their own stuff. The book is good. So Excel is about their speedster character. And without giving too much away, it's basically how he got his powers, what his first experience was like. It didn't go so well and landed him back in the hospital. And, which of course, like all speedsters, oh no, something happened. I'm in the hospital. Ooh, I'm moving at super speed. But he starts to get a grasp on his abilities. It's kind of cool. And then, of course, the end of the issue is like, what does this really mean for me? Who are these other people with abilities that I discovered on my first outing? And where are we going to go from there? So I enjoyed it. It was a good setup issue. It's actually one of three setup issues I read this week. So I'm totally gonna woo it.
Is this their first? Is this Catalyst's first book, or how long have they been publishing?
The last 2 months. Everything's new. Everything's new.
Great.
It's the first one I picked up shamefully. So I'm gonna try and rectify more of that so that I have them because I do love Joe so much and I want everything.
I think we missed it. Was that a woo or a boo?
That was a woo. Just a woo?
Well,
it's I've only read the one issue.
Okay,
so and again, it's a first issue, so it's like here's all this stuff. I do like one more additional on the woo side. I do like they didn't take the time to be all decompressed about it. There's a lot of content in one issue, like the incident where I got my powers, I have my powers, discovering what to do with my powers, I totally want to be a hero with my powers. I like that.
All right. I'm gonna have to check them out. Who are the other superhero type characters that they have on their line right now?
I forgot everything. I was so excited to see this yesterday. I just grabbed it and I ran because I knew it was one of the their core titles.
Awesome. And when did this come out? This came out.
This actually came this week. It's available today.
It's today. Okay.
It's
great.
available today.
All right. So next up, you.
So that's tough.
$4.99.
I don't know what they're doing. So let me say,
how many pages?
Like 38, 40, something like that.
Okay.
Okay. I enjoyed it. So let me start with I enjoyed it. But Marvel and DC got to chill with $4.99 books. Okay? They need to chill. Great cover by Andy Kubert. And Adam Kubert's, great cover by oh, if you have children, now's the time to cover their ears. Chip is the author of Sex Criminals, which I believe you said you enjoyed that book.
I thought Matt Fraction wrote Sex Criminals.
He's a writer on the book, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, it's been I to be honest, I'm like in the first 5 issues of it, so it's possible that maybe he took it over eventually.
Okay, but this is what was told to me, and I was like, okay, great. And now I feel stupid because I could totally be wrong. But I'm under the impression there was that. I do know for a fact he did write the last Star-Lord series, the one that was 7 issues in an annual.
Okay.
He definitely wrote that, and he has a great sense of humor that plays out in this book. And like a lot of number ones with a pre-established character, we have a day in the life of Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. It also features as a supporting character the Human Torch.
Okay. So
that's like his buddy. He talks in the beginning, and they end with, "We're gonna go and hang out and see a movie." That's mustard.
Is that mustard on his shirt?
Mustard on his shirt. Yes.
That is indeed mustard on his shirt.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes.
Oh, you know what I love is, do you see the greasy mustard went through his shirt and onto the Spider-Man
outfit? Yeah.
Can I just say that happens to me all the time?
It's so great.
Every time I get a new work shirt, I literally spill Chinese food on it every time.
Yeah, I should have meant to bring that up, but it was really good. So he has this interaction with him. You see him interacting with his current clique of Avengers. This is Spidey I'm talking about. The Tinkerer is part of their team.
Oh.
Right? And he talks about, like, oh, I made a lot of mistakes. I got consumed with power. And Spider-Man's like, I understand what that's like. You know? And he opened the book with the whole great power, great responsibility. Wow. Which, of course, Human Torch said, enough. I've heard your origin a million times. It's not as exciting as my origin.
Is this in continuity with Superior Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Now that Peter Parker is back in his body, does he retain any of the information from when Doc Ock was in his body?
Like his.
Oh wait, no, he was in.
He was already in there, but
he was in there too. I forgot.
Right,
that,
like
so.
if you mean like
so he was there with him.
If you mean like he particularly clings to Otto's like intelligence and stuff, no, because
Right.
like he's no longer in there.
I just mean like the events that took place, because that might inform him in his relationship with the Tinkerer, in that respect.
Yeah, of course, but more so like his relationship with people around him. There's a lot of heroes who just don't like him because they didn't like who he was as Otto.
Right.
And there's no real good
Oh, I
explanation
see.
for
Yeah,
that.
I see. Okay, that makes more sense.
But anyhow, wraps up on a huge cliffhanger. Spoiler alert.
We need a spoiler alert. We need like a.
We do. The cliffhanger is Johnny's waiting for him to go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, of course, isn't showing because he's too busy just trying to be cool neighborhood Spider-Man dude because that's what he really wants to be. And this woman comes out of the apartment and she's like, "Excuse me," and he's like, "Hello, yes, I am Johnny Storm. How can I help you?" Because like the whole time he's like, "Buzz off, I don't know you," because he's recognized everywhere. And then this girl comes out and she goes, "No, I was going to ask you if you're Peter Parker." And he goes, "Really?" And she goes, "Yes, I'm his sister." And that's the cliffhanger for issue 1. And then he goes, "Wait, what?" And then it says next issue. "Wait, what?" is the title of the issue.
Oh my God. So, are we wooing or booing?
Can I do a duo?
Sure.
I'm going to woo the issue. I'm going to boo $4.99.
Wow.
I just, if you love Spidey, then of course go get it. But we all know how precious and tight the budgets are right now. And I don't know. I'm not having a good time with that. Okay.
I don't disagree. I love what DC did with the price drop, but then they doubled the number of books that were coming out.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, and they reduced the number of pages. So it's like, I don't know. It's an interesting place the comic industry is in. So. All right, so my turn. I'm going to talk a little. The Sith. In fact, they retcon a little bit. That famous no scene from Revenge of the Sith, which is probably my all-time least favorite scene in any Star Wars movie. You had asked me earlier, how they retconned it, and so now I'm going to explain. So when he's saying no, in the comic book it shows, and this is in issue number 1, by the way, what I'm describing, and I'll get to issue number 2 in a second. It shows a flash of 3 things that has just happened. It shows I forget what the first one is actually. The second one is when he starts crushing the medical droids in the room, and then the third one is Padme choking when he chokes her earlier on Mustafar.
Mm-hmm.
Then he leaps off the table and screams no, which is slightly different than in the film.
Yeah.
And in doing so, the Force throws Palpatine against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, he is angry with Palpatine.
As he should be.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing that that wasn't in the original movie, was that lack of accountability to Palpatine. He says, "I thought you would save her." And Palpatine basically says, your anger killed her, or whatever, similar to what he says in the movie. And then he says, "But she has given you a gift even greater than her living, and that's pain." And he basically tells Vader to take his pain and help it to fuel his rage, and help fuel his control of the dark side.
If I may interject, one thing I like about this is it plays into his rage against the Emperor in Series 1 of Darth Vader, which takes place after episode after episode 4. Right, which I know. Maybe you remember that, where he feels Luke, right, and he realizes I have a son, and he just spoke to the Emperor. As soon as the Emperor cuts off the hollow, what do you call their communication device?
Oh, jeez, I don't know. The
hollow screen, whatever.
Yeah.
As soon as he cuts off, you see that the glass to space next to Vader is cracked from his anger, which I think is great.
So 2 things is that the Emperor then tells him, he says, now you have a choice. You can either accept this pain and live, or you can die. So Palpatine is basically telling him, you either accept that she's dead, you use her pain to fuel your rage and your control of the dark side, or I'm going to kill you. And then, after he has a little bit of a conversation, he says, I know that these times have been rough on you, but if you ever touch me with the Force again, I will finish what Kenobi could not. And I was just like, whoa. And it really sets up their relationship. And you see bits of that in the movies, in like the original trilogy, that they're not quite on the same page.
I only feel that is totally evident in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, from like the moment he and Luke can meet, I'm like, this is not going as I expected.
Yeah.
Right here in this third act. You know, the first and second act, he is just so busy being a badass, you know, killing people and throwing them in carbonite that I'm just like, wow.
So then the Emperor gives him a mission. You need to go and build a new lightsaber. And apparently Sith, the reason why their lightsabers are red is because they are taught to go find a Jedi, defeat a Jedi, take their lightsaber, take the kyber crystal out, and use their connection to the dark side to make it bleed. And that is why the lightsabers are red. And then construct a whole new lightsaber around that red kyber crystal. So I thought that was fascinating. In this issue, he's heading out. And in the first issue, Palpatine just dumps him on a planet and says, all right, I had a ship delivered here, but I don't know where it was. I guess this lawless galaxy just screams for control or guidance. And so Vader now is on a mission to go construct his own lightsaber, and he's raiding a Jedi vault in this issue, and he ends up slaughtering about 50 clone troopers in the process. He could easily have transmitted his access code and landed, and he just chose not to. He chose to just go in and slaughter them. So, and to find records of a living Jedi that may have left the Order long ago, before Order 66, or even before he became a Jedi himself, and to go get their crystal and construct his own lightsaber. So I am going to. This is going to be tough. Woo! Both issues. I think that this is definitely the Darth Vader story that we need, and to help sort of massage some of those mistakes that were made in the prequels. So, all right. So let's see. Up next for you is.
You know, again, so much decompression. Gene is still X-Men Blue leader. They've already had some cool adventures together. They discover this guy, Ultimate Wolverine's son, and that's why there's a Wolverine on the cover.
I was going to say, he looks a little young to be Old Man Logan.
Right. He's certainly not. He's the Ultimate Universe, you know, Wolverine that got transported over.
Are they bringing in a replacement Wolverine?
Yeah, essentially that's what he is. And also,
where's X-23? Isn't she
she's
the new
Wolverine? So he's just, you know,
what's his name?
I already forgot.
Is it the name that they, like, way back when he had a son?
No, it's the name of whatever he was when he was in the Ultimate Universe. I
mean, right. This is a different character. I'm thinking of in the other continuity.
It's not from the only other continuity he is from The Ultimate Universe.
Right,
So he's over here from Ultimates. Just as
I was thinking 616,
Yeah.
the 616 universe. Didn't Logan have a son at some point?
Draken.
Yeah, Draken. Yeah, that's who I was thinking. This guy is.
Draken. I feel like it's Draken. Whatever. I did kind of like him, and then they ruined him totally. But yeah, here's the other kid. I know, guys. I'm so sorry. It's just, it's tough for me. So it clearly just didn't hold me. It's cute because it gives Jean, young Jean, a Wolverine to get all dreamy with.
Oh, great.
You know.
What about Cyclops there in the background?
Yeah, exactly.
He's over my shoulder.
Just by the by, I feel like New Wolvie may have the upper hand in this situation.
Really? Well, he is a little cuter than.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, and I do like the cover by Arthur Adams, who you may remember his lovely work back in the day on X-Men and X Factor, and he used to do all the covers for classic X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So anyhow, I mean,
it's a nice cover. I like it.
No, it's nice, and and of course because they're essentially running around, kind of behaving like X Factor. I like this feeling, this X Factory feeling to the characters. So it's. I'm gonna boo it because it didn't hold my attention.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, so you're booing X-Men Blue. However, we have a chance to make it up.
So yeah, I did like this issue.
Yeah?
Yep. So, oh man. So I'm gonna give some stuff away, not some stuff away. Rachel Summers, you remember her, right?
Rachel Summers is sorry. I don't know. I apologize. I don't know my X-Men that well. They're just unfortunately not my favorite superhero group. Oh my gosh, the daggers.
Rachel Summers.
I
was the Phoenix. I came from Days of Future Past. I was the Hound of Ahab. Rachel freaking Jean Grey was my mother. Summers.
Not Hope Summers. Is this a sister? Is this Hope's sister?
Hope is not Jean's daughter.
No,
anyway.
she's like the daughter
whatever
of
she
clones
is.
or something, right?
Just the disrespect that Rachel's getting right now is so harsh because
I'm so sorry.
Rachel's history is so in depth.
Can I just...
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's definitely not seeing any respect.
So no, totally.
She's underfoot.
So she's hit and she's kind of comatose, and she is communicating with her lover from the future, Franklin Richards.
I've heard of Franklin Richards.
Yes.
I've seen him in the Days of Future Past clicks.
Correct. Yeah, so it's that guy.
Oh, Rachel Summers in that set too, isn't he?
Yes, she is. Dun dun dun.
Right.
So
sorry, the only figure I play from that set is Moira McTaggart. Whenever I need a healer for my X-Men team. Whenever I'm forced into an X-Men team.
I don't even know what to say to
I'm
that.
so sorry. And it's...
And first of all, I can't believe you never played Storm from that set. That Storm is freaking awesome.
I may have that Storm, actually, and I've never played it. Unless it's like Vampire Wolverine, which I didn't even really think was going to be that good, and then I was like, oh, he's
not that good.
I mean, he's not that good, but he's good with other X-Men figures because he gives them all.
And a larger game, he's fine.
So, yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
get
a big fun X-Men.
And now send Punisher of the Strange after him and ruin everything.
Sure.
I mean, like literally, they created him.
Is that foreshadowing some of your polls we're going to talk about?
Yeah, it foreshadows, but unintentionally because it's ridiculous. But I'm just saying, it's so clear that Punisher of the Strange is designed to like negate Happy-Go-Lucky Wolverine.
Any Sorcerer Supreme is meant to counter some of them, some of those strange powers.
Maybe, but what was I gonna say? Anyhow, so this X-Men Gold. He's telling her to stop being embarrassed of who she is. That changing her name all the time because she's been Phoenix, she's been just Rachel, she's been Marvel Girl. Now she's calling herself something else.
That's why I don't remember.
And but you should know that redhead, and you should know all the redheads. All the Phoenix family. But, so basically he tells her, like, what is this? Just stop being ashamed of yourself. The way I talk to DC movies. Mm-hmm. And, so it's a good issue for her. The Sentinels, all the Sentinels, this nightmare cadre of Sentinels have been awakened, and it is no bueno for the X-Men.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. That whole.
This is one of those, but I really enjoyed it. I don't want to say, this is one of the ones where I don't want to say too much because I will ruin too much of the book. Versus like the Spider-Man one, nothing's going on, but hey, what a cool ending. So I'm just going to leave it there. It's good. I thought Mark Guggenheim wasn't going to be like an up to snuff X-Men writer. And I have found
Mark Guggenheim as in Arrowverse Mark Guggenheim?
Oh, whatever. I can't remember who's who, but it's not him. It's not Arrowverse Guggenheim.
Oh.
Maybe I'm getting this name wrong because they're all twisted in my head. I'm sorry, guys. I needed more sleep and I didn't get it.
And
but
I got cold, so.
Guggenheim's
Thanks
cool.
for sticking around.
I wasn't sure. Obviously, he's not part of the Arrowverse. But I wasn't sure he's going to be the right guy for this. And so far, it feels modern and fresh. And also, at the same time, it feels like just a splash of the X-Men that I grew up with in the 90s, which I kind of like. It's like 80s, 90s X-Men-ish with the modern flavor.
It is the same.
It is the same Mark Guggenheim?
It is Mark Guggenheim, adds X-Men to a superhero slate. This is from USA Today.
You did it, Mark Guggenheim. I give it to you.
Executive producer of Arrow, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, discusses his newest project, writing the new X-Men Gold for Marvel Comics.
Well, you're doing a fine job here compared to some of that stuff that was written on television. Although, I don't know. If he wrote Arrow Season 2, I'd give him all the love.
Well, he's an executive producer, so he doesn't really...
Right, he's not even writing.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you be like an executive producer on multiple successful TV shows, and you're like, I'm going to write some X-Men? You know? Anyhow, don't
Ask Joss Whedon.
Don't mess it up, Mark Guggenheim. Don't mess it up. So far, so good. I'm going
You're
to
on the list. You're on the list, Mark.
You are always on the list.
You're on the Cliff list.
Oh, yeah. Amber Lanti, I'm always watching you. Anyhow, I'm going to woo it.
Woo!
I'm wooing it. And, yes, definitely, I'm down for that one.
Speaking of woos...
Let me do it.
Can I just say I'm a big Power Girl fan, despite I'll say this: I have a slight issue with the over sexualization of women in comics, and I fully understand that Power Girl is an unfortunate victim of that sometimes.
It is. I have mixed feelings of that, by the way.
Well,
but I like the way that she has been written through time on handling it.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, the New 52, Earth 2, Supergirl becoming Power Girl. I really loved that series. I loved the World's Finest comic. I mentioned that last week, and I really loved the way she was written. And I found myself having a new appreciation for her as a character, and just the struggles that she was having because of, like, I love that they because it was not originally stated that she was a copy of Kara Zor-El, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not her original.
Well, I mean, she's always been Earth 2 Kara Zor-El.
Oh, she has.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a few exceptions, obviously, because her
Right.
continuity keeps getting messed up.
But just the emotional state that she has to be in, being in a different universe and seeing a copy of herself be something else and somebody else.
How about
on a regular basis, just like that, and having writers bring that out. In bits and pieces throughout a series and run, I thought was really, I appreciate that a lot.
How about a fine classic Power Girl moment from the 80s, Crisis on Infinite Earths? She had to watch Supergirl die.
Oh, right.
You know? When that was over and they went back to the Monitor, like, satellite or whatever that they were in at that point, she is like sobbing in the arms of both Supermen, her Superman and the other Superman, who's also sobbing because he just lost his cousin.
Yeah.
And she's just like, she's completely shaken because her parallel alternate self, who she's just been cool with, and I don't even know if they had too many interactions. I honestly can't remember any interaction between that era of Supergirl and Power Girl. And she's just like, holy crap, my, like, parallel universe self just died.
Yeah.
And
that was back in a time when they didn't kill a superhero just to bring them back 2 weeks later.
Yeah, correct. In fact, it was a big deal on what to do with Supergirl. In fact, John Byrne's plan for Power Girl then was when they rebooted into the new timeline that Power Girl would be Superman's cousin. That was going to be a ripple effect of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And they're like, no, he must be the last Kryptonian. And he's like, okay, so Justice League Europe handled the continuing story of Power Girl and who she is or isn't. And then there was an issue of Secret Origins where she's flying around believing she's Earth 2's Superman's cousin. She goes, people see me. I rescue a few people. They say thank you. She goes, but I'm the only one who remembers. And then she goes to her spaceship that brought her to Earth. And the spaceship unlocks all these memories for her of Atlantis and Orion, the sorcerer of Atlantis, being her grandfather and him rescuing her and giving her this false identity. And then with that knowledge, she proceeds into all her memories from the crisis are all wiped at that point. Right? It was like, oh, the crisis happened. Oh, I'm from Atlantis. And, oh, I was made to believe I'm Superman's cousin. All that stuff about Earth 2, all of it wiped. And then when you read Jeff Johns' run of JSA, decades later, they help Orion, and he goes, I'm so sorry I did that to you. You know, I thought I was trying to help out your mother. My mother? And then Jeff Johns continues at it, and then we find out it's one illusion after another because the multiverse is trying to correct her.
Yeah.
By the way, that's going to bring me up to my next book. But first, Bombshells. Good issue. The era that they're in, it actually tracks the girls' roots back to their Russian roots. And they actually take a mission to... it's one of those... I'm sorry, I can't remember what city it is. It's not a standard city that I'm used to. It's not like Stalingrad or something like that. You know? And maybe it's Leningrad, but I feel like that's too easy. But they...
it's one of the grads.
It's not a grad, that's the thing. It starts with an L. Anyhow, they head there, the mission, they even rescue a version of Zatanna. And by the way, while they're rescuing that version of Zatanna, Supergirl and Zatanna, as they are flying to freedom, seem very, very cozy and affectionate.
Really?
Yes. So I thought that was very noteworthy and a very interesting coupling of characters that I did not see coming. Also, Bombshell Superman makes an appearance in here too, and they rescue him as well.
Oh.
So I mean, it's a $3.99 book. You get the digital copy with it, so that kind of balances out a little bit. I'm gonna woo this.
Ooh.
I'm gonna woo it for all that Power Girl, Supergirl power happening.
Excellent.
And a little extra for Zatanna.
A little extra for Zatanna.
All right, Dark Forge.
All right, we're gonna change gears here into something.
I'm like, what does that even mean?
Well, I saw that on the ordering sheet, and I was like...
Well, you better get it. And you better get all of it, and you better push this, and you better tell people it's important. Because for a book so important, to name it Dark Days, I can't even. Anyhow, I'm not a fan of a certain JRJR's artwork, so I got the Andy Kubert cover. Oh, wow. And... although there's a huge team, Jim Lee and John Romita Jr. and Scott Williams and Scott Snyder writing, and there's like a million people on this. There's like 6 writers, 6 artists. Everything's happening in this book. But anyhow, the book is really, really important. Basically, first of all, there's people breaking into the Batcave, which is just great, right? Like Green Lantern's breaking into the Batcave.
Like other superheroes breaking into
the Batcave?
Right,
in the meantime...
I was going to say, who knows where the Batcave is?
Right, well, yeah, exactly. So, like, Green Lantern's breaking into the Batcave, and what does he discover? A cave inside the Batcave.
Caveception.
Yes.
Caveception.
And what does Batman keep there? A whole bunch...
Tiny Batmobile?
No.
Oh, sorry.
A whole bunch of stolen stuff. Artifacts that are made from nth metal, including a set of Diana's gauntlets.
Made of nth metal?
Or has a connection to nth metal. He hasn't decided. What else did he discover down there? That Batman has his own team of heroes that he uses to go and discover these items and analyze them. And guess who they are?
The Bat League?
Nope, they're not Batman related at all, except for Batman did create this team back in the 80s. I love when I know the trivia. It's the original Outsiders.
Dun dun dun.
That's who Batman is using to do all this. Actually, this is like full of spoilers and crazy. Like, look at the giant nth metal ship. So I love how this. Actually, I'm sure that's why it's called Batman Metal, is because of the nth metal.
Oh,
is the theme behind it?
Breaking news, everybody.
Yeah,
Batman Metal because of nth metal.
yeah. So Lady Blackhawk is spying on Batman, by the way. Yeah, I don't know who she is in the Rebirth era of things, but we do. I'm sure we know Lady Blackhawk from Birds of Prey. So she is in a cloaked Blackhawk ship reporting to other Blackhawks that she's been watching Batman and Aquaman as they escape this volcano, and then she reports back to them and takes off. You know, and Batman is actually unaware for once. I love that. Let's have some mystery.
Is Aquaman in on it with Batman?
Yeah, no, right. Aquaman's in. No, Aquaman's just there as part of what's going on.
Okay.
Right, but the Guardians of the Universe are like, there's some horrendous crap going on Earth, Hal Jordan. You better get down there and figure out what your friends are doing.
It's almost as if we hired you to secure that sector.
Yeah. So he gets down there, and that's when they start discovering all sorts of stuff ain't right, because he finds Batman's newest sidekick. What do we even call him?
Golden Bat?
No, I think he's Batwing.
He looks like a gold Batwing almost.
Yeah. I'm sorry if he has another name. I don't know, but I think he's current new Batwing. He goes, "What's your name again? Yellow Canary, Big Bird." And he goes, he doesn't have a code name yet. He goes, "My name is Duke Thomas." Okay, so Duke.
So when you don't have a code name, you use your real name.
Well, it's Green Lantern, so you know.
Right.
So anyhow, there's another place called the Campus, and at the Campus, we are introduced to the Immortal Men, and there is a Dark Days, the Immortal Men series that's coming out as well.
Oh, okay.
Then, of course, slowly but surely, there's another narrator in this who starts telling us about the history of nth metal, and sure enough, we come to find that is Carter Hall.
Well, that makes sense.
Yes. So this is just secrets within secrets. So Batman goes to Mr. Terrific and is like, "Hey, I need you to help me break into some stuff to make sure everything's okay." So Green Lantern is breaking into the cave. Batman and Mr. Terrific are breaking into another cave, right? Then, look at this. They have Plastic Man locked up in a tomb.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, major spoilers. Look at that. Clearly it's Plastic Man. Like, the poor guy. Or it's whatever made Plastic Man, and it's another secret.
Or that actual, like, oblong, orb thing is Plastic Man.
Yes. And like I mentioned, the Outsiders.
Wow.
So that's discovered in the Bat Cave, along with Aquaman's Trident, Helmet of Fate, Wonder Woman's gauntlets. These are all things that Batman has acquired behind everyone's freaking back.
But doesn't Aquaman still have his trident?
Not when we saw him earlier in the issue.
Oh.
Yeah. And also, did Diana realize she lost a pair of gauntlets? Are these New 52 Diana gauntlets, and Diana's running around with her Rebirth gauntlets?
Oh, whoa.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Right? In the meantime, there's some crazy voices in the Bat Cave. I'm calling it the Bat Cave. There's some crazy...
Bat Cave?
Bat Cave.
Oh, Bat Cave.
Yeah. There's some crazy voices that they hear. Right? So Green Lantern and Duke keep investigating. In the meantime, I feel like a lot of you have seen this, but I'm just going to keep spoiling things. So Carter is there going over all the stuff that he has found over the years. Okay? And he also puts together that there were 3 tribes. The Hawk tribe, the Bear tribe, and the Wolf tribe. Only he found something new. And it tells him that there was also a Bat tribe.
Wait, from how long ago?
Ancient. like 3 tribes from, the beginning of time. The beginning of mankind. Beginning of mankind. Because, DC loves to do that. And so then Batman heads to the Fortress of Solitude, where he sees Superman, and they have a little talk, and he's like, Bruce, your heart's racing. And he's like, yeah, I'm here. You have to understand what I'm doing. And he goes, is that door still here? Is that thing still here? And he's like, okay, it's still here, Bruce, but really, Mr. Miracle's there because Batman asked for him. So now, Mr. Miracle and Bruce are breaking into a secret room in the Fortress of Solitude.
Oh my gosh.
When they break in, Mr. Miracle is furious. I know we said we were going to do it like a display, but this one deserves
This is going crazy.
Mr. Miracle's furious. He's like, is that what I think it is? He goes, thank you, Scott. That's going to be all. And he goes, Batman, whatever you do here, you need to turn back now. And he goes, I said that'll be all. And Scott leaves in the boom tube. I'm sorry. I don't have that much respect for Batman. If I saw what is on this next page, I would not have left. I would have called the entire Justice League and said, we need to stop this. Because on the next page, Batman is about to tinker around with the cosmic tuning fork that you may recognize from Crisis on Infinite Earths. Also, Infinite Crisis when Alexander Luthor and Superboy Prime were shoving different bodies in it. Terrifying.
I got nothing.
And by the way, that's not even the full cliffhanger. The final cliffhanger is that crazy-ass voice coming from inside the Batcave was the Joker.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So, if you saw this on the shelf, would you go, oh, I have to have that?
No.
Right. Now that I've explained it to you, who's signing up to get this book?
I am. In fact, I'm just going to take your copy.
No, you're not. There'll be none of that. Anyhow, clearly, despite being $4.99, I am going to woo the hell out of this book.
Wow.
Because I expected it to be garbage, and it was not. Savis, thank you for telling me all about it. Because without you, I wouldn't have even bothered to read it.
So there's a reason why there's, 13 writers.
Oh, yeah, it's big. It's big.
That's pretty amazing.
It's insane.
All right, well, let's...
To Catwoman, right?
Okay.
Which I think is one of the most shoehorned things that has happened in recent comics.
I honestly feel like every time they do that, that is such a fan service move.
Okay, but not Green Arrow and Black Canary. I thought that was completely appropriate. I felt...
No.
Yeah.
I mean specifically Batman and Catwoman.
No, that is extreme fan service. And it's weird because I don't know too many people who really... obsessed about Batman being with Selina.
It's fine to have, another Earth where that's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, Earth 2?
Where it was a thing. And
Exactly.
it worked.
And it was great.
And it's not like I don't see them as star-crossed lovers and, one day, not even one day, just to know that that's probably their destiny. But, with the nature of comics, we're never going to actually see that. But now we're actually seeing it. And I have to wonder why. Is it because, for instance... Batman had Damian, and everybody fell in love with Damian, and Damian's sticking around, right? There was certainly a call to get Superman and Lois back to Lois, and as a result, we end up with Jonathan Kent's Superboy. And now there's the Superman family with their young son, and the Batman family with his young son, and something doesn't feel heteronormative without a mother. I'm sorry, I'm being very judgmental, but that's just where I'm coming from.
I will. This thought just occurred to me, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. It's possible that the demographic of the average comic book reader is a mid-30s white male.
It's been established many times over, 18 to 34, and probably white male. But in that same instance, why does the whole Justice League have to be orphans? Right?
True.
Most people...
do you think that they're thinking that their demographic is getting older and having kids, and so they want their heroes to be more relatable.
Probably because when they took all that away from the heroes, all the people in that demographic who are getting married and having kids are like, what's wrong with this? I'm the one who buys this comic. I don't have a problem with people getting married and having kids. Why are you taking that away from us all of a sudden? You know?
Spider-Woman had a run where she was pregnant and then had a baby, and I read I think the first maybe 4 issues of that. And she's basically escaping an alien hospital after the Skrulls had come in looking for somebody. They had like taken it over, and she had to get all these expecting mothers on the pregnancy ward to fight off these Skrulls. It was actually pretty good.
And they're all aliens. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they were all aliens.
So like they must have all had an ability or two that lent itself.
Actually, most of them were like scared mothers, and they were just like, we don't know what to do. And she's like, all right, here's what you're gonna do. And the plan mostly was they just needed to make the Skrulls think that that Spider-Woman was unconscious or dead, and then when they least expected it, she would jump up and attack. But she was like 8 months pregnant during this whole thing, and so her whole internal dialogue is like about the stress of carrying a baby while she's at work.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool, So,
that has to do with this. I'm sorry. Anyhow, so this is weird because we have the whole Dark Forge thing, Batman metal thing that's on the horizon, and in this we have the whole war of jokes and riddles. So the rumor at the comic shop today was this is just a story to keep Batman busy and out of the way while they do stuff with Batman and other titles, right? Which is kind of right, because obviously the Dark Forge thing.
Right. Well, I was going to ask, does this tie in at all with?
No, he is actually telling this story in flashback to Selina.
Oh, so that's kind of an interesting device to use to get him out of the current story that they want the readers to focus on. That's in the current continuity.
And again, I do not like things that are contrived, and him getting engaged, the nature of the storytelling, and it's at the end of the issue too. While you're reading through the issue, it's not apparent that
you're being kind of like tack that on at the end.
I mean, look, there's enough little thought balloons and everything throughout the issue, but it feels tacked on. But it was good. The Riddler realizes I am not, and it's funny because it's written a little bit like the Gotham TV show.
Really?
In the nature of Joker and Riddler talking to each other. So Joker starts all these crazy crimes. And Riddler's in jail and pieces together. They're all attacks on comedy because the Joker can't laugh. So the Riddler pieces together this whole elaborate thing that the Joker has set up. And he goes, so I figured it out, and you wanted him to come, but I'm here instead. And I know what's happening. You can't laugh because Batman made it impossible for you to laugh because he always wins. So he needs to die so that you can laugh again. He goes, and I am not who I say I am if I can't solve this riddle. So I need Batman to die so I can be the Riddler. We have to be who we are. And in order to do that, to be the Joker, to be the Riddler, we have to defeat the thing that is stopping us. So he goes, now, I thought this through. We go to war, it'll be horrible. Batman will still win, and we get nothing. He's like, on the other hand, we work together, and we kill Batman together. Joker turns on him immediately. Batman shows up and sets the stage. Well, it's part one. I'm probably not going to be as aggressive with future parts, but that's it. That's what happens. Yeah. And then of course Batman's lying in bed. He's like, "Well, I have to let you know, Selina. I have to explain why I did what I did during the war of jokes and riddles." And I'm like, "Oh, how clever!" Oh.
All right, so How do we feel about...
I'm still going to woo it because I loved the way Joker and Riddler were written in this issue.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
And, for a $3.99 book with... And it's an extra size anniversary issue of $3.99.
Nice.
So it gets my full approval rating.
So that's going to bring us to...
Alfred and Lois Lane waiting for them at the
Okay.
farmhouse. Which, of course, the farmhouse is not even a freaking Smallville. It's in some other made-up town, which I'm going to get to for another comic, right? So they're there, and so this issue picks up with the fact that clearly they've already been scolded, and Jonathan is having none of it, And in fact, he's even angry that he doesn't have the full cache of Kryptonian powers.
Okay.
Like he can power jump and, stuff like that. And he has super strength, but, he doesn't fly,
Right.
fire, heat vision,
But he's on par with Superman's development, right? With Clark's development?
He's
At that
ahead of
age?
he's ahead of
He's
schedule.
ahead of him. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Power jumping and super strength, yeah. Because remember, Clark was just like, oh, look, I can even do football. This is so great. And then, oh, crap, I fell off this cliff and I'm flying. So, occasionally there'd be something like, holy cow, our son is lifting a tractor. Okay. But he wasn't, throwing a tractor.
Right.
This kid can throw the tractor.
Right.
So anyhow, he yells at his parents and leaps off to the big city of Metropolis for another adventure, and Superman eyeballs him with the whole time,
Yeah.
from the farm with supervision.
Sure.
He's supervising his son with supervision. I feel like I want to create that pun, but I feel like the book created it itself.
Yeah.
But Peter Tomasi wrote this, as he also wrote one of the other books I'm coming to, which is Superman number 25. Good pickup in the story. Some development time for Jonathan Kent, which I feel like he's got several books to spread his weight on that now. I kind of like this kid, but he's I don't know, he's 10 or whatever, and he's moody, and I guess I want to like him better than Damian. I slightly like him better than Damian because I've never really liked Damian, and now all of a sudden it's kind of making me like Damian. But not in the way that I want to. I like their dynamic. He's mad at Damian, and Damian's like, "No, chill. We're friends." And, no, actually, no, he's really not. That's not. That was the wrong. My brain went the wrong direction. Damian's like, "Nah, chill. We should learn to try to work together." That's what I meant to say. Not "Oh, we're friends." No, because Damian doesn't feel that way. In fact, Damian, in the back of his mind, is like, man, wait till I show the Teen Titans my secret weapon. So,
Woo. Boo.
you get the freaky digital copy with the $3.99. It entertained me. It moved the story forward a little bit. So I will woo it. It will be a mild woo.
A mild woo.
How did his name escape me? Well, back to opening comics. Manchester Black.
Oh, Manchester Black.
Manchester Black, and actually the last issue was revealed to be the villain. And again, here's another Peter J. Tomasi book, right? They're all fighting. They're now fighting Superboy, who's been empowered by this black dark force energy that Manchester Black is manipulating.
Okay.
And Manchester Black now seems to be his, his older version. Like I mess with people's minds and stuff.
Yeah.
So Superboy Jonathan has full range of his Kryptonian powers while he's possessed by this stuff. So Superman discovered in the last issue, Superman discovered in part 1 of this, that the whole town has been watching him, his son, and Lois like it's the freaking Truman Show. per Manchester's Black instruction.
Sure.
Right? Then, to top it off, the whole place is weird. There's the Valley of Dead Bodies, and there's this farm there that produces this milk, which they've been raising Jonathan with, right? And then Batman suspects by the way, Superman finds this weird farmhouse and figures everything else going on. Who's comatose in the farmhouse? Frankenstein, Frankenstein's bride, Batman and Robin are all freaking locked up because they were putting together something's wrong with the town, so they got locked up. So Superman freed them, only to go and rescue his son, who's, of course, being manipulated by Manchester Black. Wow. So Batman put together the milk in the town was keeping Jonathan from achieving his full superpower potential.
Okay.
So anyhow, this issue just goes on. Manchester manipulating his mind, him being like, no, because blah, blah, blah. Superman's no good, my mother. And he's like, your mother's fine. Then Lois comes and fixes everything. It's cute. Overall, I liked it. I felt it was a little bit...
Okay.
It was good. It was good. It's just, some of it was...
So...
Some of it was awfully special.
Are we wooing or booing?
That's... Okay, more woo than boo. I like the art. The story was solid. And I'll stick with solid. And of course, with that $3.99, you get your free digital copy. So that's for me, that's a bonus. But it was good, and it was a little more than cute. And like there was a struggle there with his son. And there's another girl, and there's the people who were possessed as well, who were essentially her family, like not biologically, but the fact that they're all different, and it was good.
Are we gonna have our first boo of the night?
No, what was my first boo of the night?
No, I don't think you booed anything.
I don't think I booed. Oh, we might.
That's what I'm saying. Is this your first boo?
No, it's a woo.
All right,
it's a woo because of the $3.99. Okay. You get the digital copy.
That price and that digital copy are keeping the value up for you.
It does. It does, because if I had paid $4 or $5 for this and no digital copy. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the digital copy, you can take it everywhere. Why is it every time I lean one way, I'm off camera? Hold on. The digital copy, you can take it everywhere. I like it. Mm-hmm. It's a good story, good art. It wasn't bad. I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I'm running out of my way. Manchester Black is a good villain. I know a lot of people really appreciate him. He's from the Elite.
Now, this was the end of
the saga. Yes.
Of the saga. So if readers have been invested in that story, definitely go up and see how it wraps up. If not, maybe skip this one and get ready for the next story.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, God, it's so tight, but I'm not going to boo it. Not going to boo it. You hang in there.
All right. So next up... inside the book. And I apologize, I didn't bring any copies of the ones that I read. But Lobo is one of my favorite DC characters. When I was a kid, after the Reign of the Superman series, there was an issue where Lobo came to Earth for, I forget what reason, and fought Superman. There was this big battle in Metropolis, right? But the issue that I bought was sealed in a bag.
It was the one with the stickies.
And it had these little clings of the pieces of Lobo and Superman, and you could arrange them fighting over the Daily Planet and over the skyline of Metropolis in any position you want. I still have this with the fight scene I created when I was 12 years old. And ever since then, I said, whoa, this dude, the main man, shows up from space to frag everything up. And the Bistatches, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
And he can go toe-to-toe with Superman. And I was like, this guy's legit. I love this guy. So I have checked in on Lobo ever since then. And when I saw this came out, because who doesn't love the sarcasm and the wittiness of Roadrunner? Very quickly, in this issue, we discover that Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, the sheepdog who always calls Wile E. Coyote Ralph, and several other, Warner Brothers creations are genetic experiments that have escaped from, I believe, Area 51, possibly. And this was in the 40s or the early 50s. And then there's one page of quick shots of everything we know about the Roadrunner and the Coyote and Wile E. Coyote and their interactions over the years.
Only, I'm sure, much more graphic and less.
Actually, it was a lot of he's under rocks with signs, or he. There was some witty, like I think the 2009 one is, how we'd always have the plate of birdseed instead of free birdseed? The 2009 one had the free birdseed and it said free birdseed and healthcare. So it was very witty with the times and things. And he gets fed up. Meanwhile, Lobo gets a contract to go off and kill somebody, and we don't know who it is. And at least I don't think we know who it is. And he's passing by Earth, and he's thinking, oh, maybe I should do a quick stop in Vegas, for some debauchery. And then he's like, no, I got to stay on course and get this. Well, meanwhile, Wile E. Coyote has escaped Area 52 and is in a spaceship, and he projects space whales because he knows Lobo loves space whales, apparently.
Oh, dolphins.
Space dolphins. So
Lobo loves space dolphins. And when Lobo discovered regular dolphins, he was like, but who would hurt such precious creatures on your world?
So all he sees is this rocket ship heading towards a school of space dolphins.
Yes.
And so Lobo has to stop him. So he stops him, and and then the guy's like, please don't hurt me. I want to hire you for $1 billion to go and assassinate the Roadrunner. And Lobo's like, I'd love to, but I've already contracted to do this other job. And he goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, you go do that job, and I'll go do your job. So they part ways, right? So Lobo goes to Earth, and there's hilarity ensues of him trying to kill the Roadrunner, and everything that you'd expect. He tries to throw a grenade, and somehow the Roadrunner speeds over, and the grenade ends up in his mouth, and his face explodes. Like all this classic Lobo.
He fires his hook chain, nothing.
It's just some funny stuff, and then he fires his hook chain, hooks him, and then Roadrunner flies away, and then drops him and his motorcycle down into the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
and he's like, I'm so fragged. And so, meanwhile, and this is the funny part, is the contract that Lobo has to fulfill is Kilowog.
Oh,
he's got to go assassinate Kilowog, right? But it's Wile E. Coyote's got to go do that, and he shows up on Oa. And of course, he just shows up, and they immediately capture him, and they're like, "What's going on?" And they're like interrogating him or whatever. And then the guy who hires Lobo comes, and he says, "Oh," and I to be honest, I read this pretty fast, but he comes, and for some reason he explains to Kilowog that, oh no, I hired Lobo to come do this job, and possibly so that Kilowog would kill Lobo or something like that.
Right.
But he tried to double cross me. He goes, I don't want to see this guy hurt, so just let him go. Right. So they send him back to Earth. Meanwhile, Lobo can't get Roadrunner. So he tells Coyote, he goes, just forget it. So meanwhile, Lobo doesn't collect on the $1 billion from Coyote and doesn't collect on the Kilowog kill. So then the very last, spoiler alert, the very last panel is Wile E. Coyote's back on Earth, and you think that the rest of their thing is going to ensue, and then he turns around and he's wearing a Green Lantern ring, and he smirks at the reader, and then that's the last panel.
As if he defeated Kilowog.
No, he stole a ring, and now he's going to use the ring to capture, to go toe-to-toe with Roadrunner.
One could hope.
So
the one I want to bring up, and I don't have it here with me, I saw the Wonder Woman Tasmanian Devil one, which was also done in a very serious tone. And he kind of, Diana's one of her gifts is to communicate with animals, right?
Yes,
so
I knew that.
So she could communicate with the Tasmanian Devil.
Oh my God!
And so they have a very lovely time, and I mean, he helps her with their little battle on Paradise Island, whatever. Mm-hmm. It was cute. A slightly more serious tone, but cute. And then, of course, all he wanted to do was partake in the feast. And then one time when they were in serious combat, he got to do the Tasmanian Whirl.
Wow.
So like, but that's not a big deal. The one that was very impressive to me, and I wish I brought it with me, Marvin the Martian and Martian Manhunter.
I have that waiting for me, and I have not read it yet. Please don't spoil it. Have you read it?
Oh my god,
Is it good?
it's so good.
I'm
going to tell you the opening.
Okay, tell me the opening.
So Martian Manhunter hears the signal, or detects the signal. It's the same signal from Mars that brought him to Earth.
Okay.
He races to the lab of the man, where he appeared on Earth, and out comes Marvin the Martian. And then they realize, oh, we're not the same type of Martian. And then but they're so happy.
Are they both from Mars?
Right, but from different versions of Mars.
Oh, different versions, like different.
Yeah, different universes.
See,
right?
I'm thinking there's green Martians, white Martians, and then little Martians.
No, it wasn't like that. And of course, he's not particularly a little Martian. He actually.
I'm from the southern hemisphere.
He actually looks gladiatorial.
Yeah.
Like again, it's drawn.
Yeah, they beefed up Coyote as well, and
right. Right.
Sheepdog.
They're just drawn in a more serious tone. The Bugs Legion of Superheroes one was actually drawn in a lighthearted tone. Anyhow, so just the opening, they meet, they talk. It's cool. We're both Martians, and it's Martian Manhunter. This is my adopted planet. Let me make this a place for you too. Versus these people destroy themselves and everything they touch.
and he wants to destroy.
And
Earth.
that is the setup for the whole issue.
That's so
And I'll tell you nothing else. And remember, when we first meet Marvin the Martian in the cartoons, Marvin's all like, "Oh, they're blocking my view.
Yeah.
They're blocking my view of Venus."
Yeah.
No,
They
destroy everything they touch.
I like it.
And I'm gonna give you that.
So, Lobo Road Runner. Sorry, this cold is kicking me. I give it a big woo. It was great. They captured Lobo so well. They captured the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote so well. And I didn't think it was possible to merge these two worlds together, and they did a fantastic job. So kudos to them. So next up is Justice League.
Maybe these two are captured from a previous issue that I missed, and that's why they're not in the story. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Flash.
Are they in this story?
They're not in the story.
Oh.
This story is a Jessica Cruz story.
Wow.
Jessica Cruz fights some dude who has an impossible force field. She almost kills an innocent child and her mother in this foreign country. They go back to the satellite. Wonder Woman's like, "Jessica, you got to tell me what's going on." And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. She's like, "Don't make me break out the lasso of truth." So she says that the way the child looked at me, and then Batman confronts her, and he goes, "Listen," he goes, "that could have been a lot worse if we weren't there." And that's what you have to remember. And she goes, "That child's gonna go to bed tonight and have nightmares, have trauma, and they're gonna be thinking of me. Do you know what that must be like, Batman?" And he goes, "I absolutely know what that feels like," and storms away. And she goes, "Did I touch on something?" And Wonder Woman's like, "It's not for me to say." And Jessica's like, "Okay." So anyhow, they convince Jessica that she has to get back in it, and it's a growth issue for Jessica.
That's very cool. I
And
mean, those are the kind of stories I like.
it was pretty good. I'm not sure how I felt about the way Wonder Woman spoke the whole issue. I like when Diana has the nice, even, compassionate tone. I only like her getting rough when it calls for it. I just feel like stuff like, but anyhow, I mean, some good stuff. Like Jessica's doubting herself in the end, and she's like, "No, Jessica, believe in yourself. You have the power. You have the willpower." Super corny. Tom DeFalco. But I still appreciate it because I love you.
You're on the list.
He's
You're
not on the
Cliff
list.
Oh,
He's
sorry.
a classic.
I'm getting too crazy with the Cliff list.
No. I let you know when they're on the list. Dagger Vision.
I can't do it like you can. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was...
I actually heard a
Yeah.
so.
it's funny because a couple times people actually are like, "Oh my god," and I'm like, "Because you don't really want to get me pissed off." You know, all I had to channel there was Zack Snyder. So anyhow, it's amazing though. Whenever anyone needs me to be like angry or give that look, I'm just like Zack Snyder, and jeez, it's so good. So great acting technique, good Jessica story, $2.99 comic, no digital copy, but that's okay. Woo!
Whoa. We're wooing. All right,
It was not bad.
Just a couple left in our What Did We Read? So that's going to bring us up to Iceman. The Iceman.
Yeah, that's going through. Well, remember, he's made of ice, and she
Right,
phases.
right.
So that's why the whole thing is cool.
Is it a metaphor for their relationship?
It might as well be. I mean, he's hanging out with Kitty. They're busting up some mutants.
They're busting up mutants? Oh,
You know
bad
what I
guy
mean? Bad mutants, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
You know?
Brotherhood? Does the Brotherhood still exist?
In some capacity. You know, Iceman is very powerful and much less afraid to show it now, which I like.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I just want this to be better.
Yeah.
I just you know, I just want it to be better. Like, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
But again, anything that doesn't grab me, I like sat here and I flipped through the pages to be like, grab me, remind me what I liked about the book. Mm-hmm. But all I'm reminded is that I really didn't like the book. I like Bobby talking with Kitty, and that's nice. And that's it. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, issue 1, him getting angry, you know, he's in a fight, like a play, you know what I mean? Like a training fight with young Iceman, with his younger self. And he's jealous of him. And then he pulls a power move and knocks young Iceman out of the sky. You know? And I appreciated that. Mm-hmm. And then the story devolved into idle chatter. And that's what this is. Just idle, $3.99, should be $2.99. Boo you. I'm upset. And of course, because Iceman is supposed to be gay, you know, and discovering himself, his younger self is running around with an inhuman boyfriend making out. I'm done. This is exactly what I tell you about Tony that ticks me off. Okay, authentic experiences, and it's not enough. Yeah. I don't know why it's not enough. I don't know what the reason is for not enough. Maybe you think you're doing a favor. Maybe Marvel's editorial doesn't have a grip on what people want. Maybe it's because your name isn't Brian Michael Bendis. Because obviously he gets away. No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, there's absolutely favoritism in comic books, and let's never pretend. Okay, Bendis can have Jean Grey out young Iceman. Bendis can have young Bobby making out with his new inhuman boyfriend. And this is a book dedicated to Iceman with none of the lead heavy hitting names on it, and it is just some BS. You know what I would have loved? Years. And I know Chuck Dixon was part of writing, and somebody else. I can't remember all of it because it's a mush now. But there was years of this thing with North Star having a thing for Iceman. Mm-hmm. Right? It was prevalent. I vaguely remember that, yeah. It was prevalent. It was there. You know what I would have loved to have seen for a modern Iceman who's trying to get in touch with himself, he's clearly building on his confidence because he's using his power level more. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But you know what I would have liked? I know North Star's a married man. I would have liked to have seen him go to North Star and have a talk. Maybe even with North Star's husband. Having a lovely meal at their apartment or chateau or wherever North Star currently lives with his husband.
Probably in Canada.
Yeah, but he's rich. He's all over the place. You know? He has investments all over.
Right.
He actually yelled at Angel once because he's like, whoa. What do you mean you aren't keeping track of your company's investments? I invest with your company. And it was great because when he was at Xavier School as a teacher, he taught math. He taught math and finance, right? And flight school. Those were his two jobs.
That's awesome.
Right? Oh, and of course he was a coach because, all of his years skiing. So yeah. I'm sorry it's a disappointment. I feel like the people involved have some love. Ugh.
Do you plan on picking up issue 3?
I plan on waiting for the trade.
Okay. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know.
And then borrowing it from somebody.
It'd be interesting to see if they can turn it around or if they're building to something similar to what you described, something a little bit more authentic, and that this was all just like maybe his frustration with not being able to,
It's
yeah.
It's just. I'm sorry. It's just not right. Like I like when I look at my feed and what my friends, what my LGBTQ friends are going bonkers about with their comics. This is not there. It's not there. They're going crazier over like the Dark Forge. They're going crazier over Bombshells.
Yeah.
Like.
So it's a boo.
No. Iceman remains a boo. I'm sorry. You need to impress me. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let's move on to what did we watch. This will be a pretty short segment. We only really have one, maybe two things. I didn't think of something else to mention. But let's first just hit on.
This we get to watch it on basic cable. Well, is that basic cable or it's advanced? I don't know. Whatever you call it.
It's pretty close to basic.
Yeah, on semi-basic cable.
On semi-basic cable.
Most people can have this channel cable.
So what did you think of the trailer?
I loved it. I was excited. It felt Cloak and Dagger to me.
Awesome. I personally do not know Cloak and Dagger at all. And I was thinking, when I heard that this was ABC Family, or previously ABC Family, now Freeform, and that it was Marvel, Cloak and Dagger, I immediately assumed, not connected to the MCU, I immediately assumed it was going to be similar to other fluffy ABC, family shows that I had seen.
And I think there's a taste of that in the trailer.
There's definitely a taste of young adult, late teens, angst, reaching out, learning about yourself and stuff, which I enjoy those stories to a point.
Look, but they've had a huge success with Pretty Little Liars.
That's true.
I watched season 1 of that show with one of my nieces, and it was not horrible.
Not horrible.
Yeah.
They should use that as a quote in their advertising. This show is not horrible.
Listen, I hope we get to the day where my quote is on boxes of DVDs and Blu-rays, and it said, Clifford Barmer said, not horrible.
So
Read.Watch.Play said, not bad at all.
Not horrible. Not horrible. You get a digital copy, so it's worth the $4.99.
Exactly. That could be our quote for the Blu-ray DVD digital box set. It'll be like Read.Watch.Play said, good value for the bundle.
So I knew nothing about Cloak and Dagger going into this. I had all these assumptions and preconceived notions. I watched the trailer, and if you haven't watched the trailer, I hope you've already paused this and gone and watched it. It's the official trailer on YouTube. Go check it out. I watched it, and I was like, this is quality. Very different than my opinion on Star Trek Discovery. I felt like this was a quality production with... we don't need to get into that again. I just wanted to dig a little.
I just can't believe... Okay, listen. Please, let's be real here. Please separate your disappointments in your Star Trek expectations from the look of quality. That show has the look of quality. It just doesn't have the quality of that it has the wherewithal of what Star Trek it is. And I will allow you to have that because you're such a huge fan. But if you remove yourself from that portion, right, where the show, you know what I'm saying?
I agree. It looks fantastic.
Tsk you, because
Iron Fist also looked fantastic.
Right, and not great, but
great.
But I had a good time.
And I will more than likely have a good time with Star Trek.
But let's be honest.
Even if it's as bad as I think it is.
This is what I can't understand. Like, you were talking about Transformers earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad, right, for me.
Yeah.
Like, the first one...
I will never disagree that they're terrible movies.
Right, I can't watch them.
I will shell out my money every time one comes along because Transformers and Ninja Turtles were the two things that I played with in my room as a kid. Ninja Turtles and Transformers, and as long as there is a live action product of Transformers or a decently produced and written Transformers cartoon animated series like Transformers Prime, which by the way is amazing, or the 1986 Transformers the movie animated film is way better than any of these live action movies they've come up with. But as long as there's a live action version of this, I am unfortunately going to saddle up to Michael Bay's pocket and just dump my money in and say, please sir, can I have some more?
I have so much fortitude. I really do. Because I swore to myself that if Wonder Woman broke my heart, that Warner Brothers would never get a dime from me, outside of Harry Potter, would never get a dime from me again. And thankfully, Wonder Woman was good. And I will put myself through the Justice League-ness of it all. Which now I'm hearing there's reshoots and they're adding more Wonder Woman, and I'm like, yeah.
So let's hang on. Let's table that because that's another topic. But first, I want to just ask one question. Woo or boo for the Cloak and Dagger trailer?
Oh, woo!
Huge woo for me. Woo! I cannot wait. I know nothing. I'm looking forward to it. So, just two more quick things under what did we watch? Number one. Did you see the report about how much Gal Gadot made for Wonder Woman?
And then I heard that was not true, and we need to just shut up.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm not sure what to believe. But there was a report this morning that said if you believe that, you are wrong. And I just felt like the report that came out was just backtracking.
Now it's possible that her initial paycheck is $300,000, which is
right,
what was reported.
Maybe she got a little bit of back end,
and then I hope she got some back end because if she didn't make money off of the gross receipts,
I live for the back end. Those back end dollars kept Jack Nicholson very rich.
That's true. If you don't know what back end means, it's a term in the film industry when a director or a producer or a star,
sometimes an actor, yes,
yeah, sometimes an actor. They in their contract there is a flat fee that they're paid for their performance for so many days, for so many weeks, whatever, and then they get a percentage or a point of the back end, which is when the movie grosses. Money at the box office
and sales of products related to the
sales,
movie.
If that's included in their contract.
It certainly was.
Jack Nicholson, his was he got all the toy money, so he probably only got like 1 or 2% of everything.
It was 5. It was 5.
That's a lot.
Yes, it was.
That's a lot.
And I hear that master baller himself, Robert Downey Jr., pulled that off with Iron Man. Can you imagine all that money?
That is.
Although you know what, with the way toy sales are in the modern era, I feel like that back end money is really good from the box office. And then oh look, honey, we got a check for $1,700. Here, throw this on the pile with all the checks you bring home.
I'll take a check for $1,700 for my toy.
Well, I mean, of course, dude. When you bring home $50 million a movie, right, and then the box office sends you a check for another $45 million, right? When you see that check for $1,700, what do you do with that? You laugh. You buy your son the first class ticket to Disney World while you set up the trip for you and your wife.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like the $1,700 check, you're like, oh, this is cute. Let's go give it to that Hodgkin's lymphoma hospital down the road. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, who's like, A check for them at
I see.
$1,700 is like
I see.
$17.
You trapped me in there. I see what you did.
No, I know. Listen,
So-
I know. $1,700 could help us both. Sure, if
a lot of comics.
250 grand, I'd lose my mind.
It's a lot of digital comics.
Yeah.
So even if she got points on the back end, I still think that that's a rough deal and highly inappropriate. If that's true, if it's true,
Right, which we don't know.
and I await for an accurate report to see because Henry Cavill made $14 million from Men of Steel.
Also, apparently not set in stone.
Really?
Right. So I feel like we're definitely going to hear more.
It's
about
as
this.
if it's fake news.
That's the world we live in.
All right, next. So one last thing, and what did we watch? Justice League reshoots,
Yes.
but not the reshoots because every modern movie now
Has
has reshoots, or they used to be called pickups, where it was like little bits and pieces of scenes, adding a line here or there. A lot of times they would do, additional digital voice recording. It was called ADR. It's called ADR. Where you just go in a booth, so when they cut away to the back of someone's head in an over-the-shoulder conversation, they add a different line than was actually shot on the day. They do lots of this movie magic stuff. Pickups are just picking up pieces of the scene or whatever. They've done that since probably the dawn of the film age. Now that's Marvel, I believe, is really bolstered that in actual reshoots so that they can really fix other problems. Rogue One is a perfect example. Not only did they do reshoots to redo their ending, add different scenes, rewrite how characters resolved, but they also brought in a different writer and director to supplement that, which is a very common thing.
There's a name for that too when you bring in another writer and director to I forgot the name of it.
Well, you mean like ghost writing or something, or
No.
ghosting,
It's
or
like I think I think it started as a Broadway term where you bring in
possibly.
where you bring in this other
Yeah.
writer. But the thing is, when you bring in the other writer, usually either they help you or they set you up to fail and be like, here's my version of the script.
Well, sometimes that can happen, but I feel like in today's filmmaking is a very collaborative environment.
Absolutely,
And Gareth Edwards, who was credited as the director of Rogue One, directed a majority of that film, and he probably oversaw a lot of what I believe it was Tony Gilroy who came in. Who came in and did rewrites and reshoots, and probably oversaw it. And in the end, he probably agreed a lot with what. And in fact, Gareth Edwards directed the new first Godzilla movie. And wouldn't you know it, Tony Gilroy came in and did rewrites and reshoots on that as well. So these are two directors who have worked together in the past,
If
and he
only
probably felt
if only they had done a better job on Godzilla.
possibly. I still think that movie was Gareth Edwards' vision.
It's good,
So-
but it's not very good. It's certainly not Godzilla.
But what about this report that Junkie XL has been replaced as the composer for the film?
With Danny Elfman.
With Danny Elfman, who worked with Joss Whedon on Age of Ultron.
Yep.
And who brings a very different feel than Junkie XL.
Batman the Animated Series. Danny Elfman from Batman and Batman Returns.
That's right.
Danny
Batman
Elfman.
Returns, my favorite Batman.
25 years this year, right?
Yep.
Danny Elfman, who did the theme song to Desperate Housewives. Danny Elfman, who is basically legendary. Didn't Danny Elfman also do the theme to the '90s Flash, which was repeating himself a little bit? But anyhow, I'm sorry. Like, Danny Elfman is good. I do like Junkie XL. I actually loved what he did with the Man of Steel soundtrack.
The Man of Steel soundtrack is amazing.
It's it's better than the movie. It's better than the movie.
Yeah, it's highly regarded as an amazing soundtrack. I enjoy a lot of the score that he did with Hans Zimmer. Actually, he worked with Hans Zimmer on that.
Yes.
And then Junkie XL scored Batman v Superman by himself. Or did Hans Zimmer also help with that?
I don't remember, because by that time you have to understand my care level was really strained.
So I think. So what's your opinion of this?
I think we're about to think the same thing. But go ahead.
So and Junkie XL tweeted that he was replaced on the project, and he said somebody told him, I forget who it was. It might have been John Williams. Said you've made it in Hollywood when you've been replaced on a project. So he was fired. He was replaced, and I'm sure it was an amicable conversation.
I hope
and they
so.
said, look, you have many meetings to go.
Do you
through
feel they
before
brought Danny Elfman in to lighten the tone, to soften the score,
Well,
to make it a little more whimsical,
I think Joss Whedon was brought in to
to soften and make it more whimsical?
soften and make it don't hate me for this, but more like the feel of a Marvel movie.
No.
An enjoyable, entertaining movie to watch that isn't a statement in
I
the
absolutely agree
grittiness
with you.
of superheroes.
I absolutely agree with you, except I just hate the fact that people have to go that route of using the term Marvel movie. It's not about that.
Well, and that's why I said don't hate me for saying that. But it's I really mean
I don't hate you for saying it, but I just don't like that you said it.
But I mean like the feel of a good, entertaining movie. Not that Man of Steel and Batman v Superman.
We could have stuck with what I said. Soften the tone.
Sure, fine. All right, soften the tone. But it signals to me that there is a much larger reconfiguration of this movie than I think they originally presented.
Of course. However, I do genuinely believe that Zack Snyder did tap out to be with his family.
Oh, I honestly believe that too.
Yeah.
But I strongly believe that within that conversation,
They had already hired.
They had
already hired him. Yes.
Yeah, they had already hired Joss Whedon, and so I think, I think that I have every inkling of my being thinks that Zack Snyder just said, "Look, Joss, make it your own. You take what I've done, you make it your own movie. You connect all of these threads that we've established, and you make it your own and bring it to the next level." And I'm sure that's what the studio had said as well. And that's why we're getting this news that the more Wonder Woman, larger reshoots, Danny Elfman coming in. I mean, I heard reports, reports get exaggerated, but I heard that possibly up to 60% of the movie is going to be reshot and rewritten.
Oh, I feel like that's too much.
I think that they could be as much as you leave those big set pieces in that have already been pre-visualized in special effects and that are going to be, that are already in the works and are probably already close to being finished, and then you rewrite the story around that. Similar to probably the last 40 minutes of Rogue One. And but there is a new trailer coming at Comic-Con, is what we're being told. So I'm excited to see it, and excited to see if it incorporates anything from the reshoots, possibly an edit of the trailer from Joss Whedon himself and his editors. So
in the meantime, 17 days till Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes, Spider-Man: Homecoming. I'm very excited for that. All right, so let's move on to the segment that we missed last time, and that is, what did we play?
Yes.
So very quickly, let me just run down what Howard Brock's World's winning team was, and then we'll have a more detailed interview with him next week, and he can give us some insight into the effectiveness of this team and his thought process in building it and going out and defeating everyone to become the world champion. So we had Goblin King from the What If set, which
very
is
new and not surprising.
very new. You pick two standard powers, any two powers.
What point level did he play him at?
I believe he played him at the lower point value, but again, we have not gotten the official build sheet. He just took a picture of the team, and I believe the starting dial was the lower one. But even then, with pick-up powers, it's insane. And
I still feel like that low is so what do you call it?
effective or not effective? The opposite.
No, it can be effective. Yeah. I don't know. It's like you're taking a real chance with that.
Right. But, the thing is I heard from Kenny Pena that Kenny Pena judged all of the featured table matches. Mm-hmm. And he said that he mentioned something about Howard pulling multiple defense powers for longevity. So I'm thinking that possibly...
Oh, right, because he doesn't have any restrictions like Hakeem does.
Right.
It's just two powers.
Right.
Okay, so I can choose Energy Shield
and combat reflexes.
And combat reflexes, or I can choose Invincible and combat reflexes, or Invincible and Energy Shield, or Invincible and Shape Change.
You can choose Invincible and Impervious, and then decide which one you want to use when you're attacked. I mean, there's a lot of different options there. He also played the Ha-Ha Joker. I believe he played him with one token, but I'm not entirely sure. He played Mercury from the World's Finest set.
Right, cheap TK.
He played Ironheart, which I'm not familiar with Ironheart. That's from the...
That's from the what do you call it? Avengers Defenders.
Avengers Defenders.
She's a super rare.
Yep.
She's cheap. She's cheap outwit, if I remember correctly.
Possibly, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not very familiar with the figure at all. He also played the Colossal Atom from Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Also
cheap.
On the 15-point, basically the Colossal Retaliation click, which a lot of people were playing the Atom at that point, right?
Yep.
And the other figure that a lot of people were playing were the Pocket Tank.
Yep.
The Pym Pocket Tank, which if in I believe it like can be carried around with an adjacent friendly.
Yeah.
And then that character can be given an attack, and if they -1 their attack, then you can switch the tank out for the real tank, for the big tank, at its lower point value.
Still quite effective.
Yeah, it's I read up a little bit about it, and it's just a lot of stuff. It's high defense. It's got some fun stuff going on, and then the symbiote special object.
Yep.
Which that
Also
is that a
grants shape
rule?
change, right?
Yeah, I think it does. And is that a roll effect at the beginning of the turn, and then you don't know exactly what you have, or it gives you shape change in something else?
I don't remember.
Hang on, we're gonna look it up real quick right here. We're going to HC Realms unit section, by the way. If you're a Heraclix player not familiar with this. Equipped character can use plasticity and shape change and automatically breaks away. That's pretty good. Give the equipped character a free action. Roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. 5 through 6, modify the character's combat values by +1 until your next turn. On a 1, place this object in an adjacent square, and the last equipped character can't be equipped by it this game.
Oh, good lord. Put Goblin King up there, too.
So...
That's savage.
Yeah, exactly. So the Goblin King.
Wrong guy.
Goblin King. You know what? I don't think he's.
No,
on
he was
here
there.
yet.
You just had it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Goblin King. Here he is.
Let's
He's
see.
got 3-point dials.
Yep. That's why I wonder if he played him at mid dial.
I think it was mid dial for the prob. Probably.
Yeah, because the prob is so good at mid dial.
So he has phasing teleport.
Is that phasing?
Phasing on the top.
Are you sure that looks like whatchamacallit?
Earthbound
like
Neutralize?
Yeah.
No, that's
Highlight
phasing.
it.
I've played it. It's phasing teleport.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I know you pulled it.
I pulled
yeah,
it.
you
I
did.
pulled it we'll talk about that in a minute. He has nothing on his attack dial, and then he has an 18 impervious, a 4 damage with probability control.
Double pick of power and power cosmic.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He does have power cosmic.
Yep. Yeah.
And if somebody misses an attack, you put a nightmare token on them, and while they have a nightmare token on them, they are -1 attack value. And then after actions, if they make an attack, after actions resolve, they remove a nightmare token from the character. So if they keep attacking Goblin King and keep missing, the token comes off. A second token goes on, and then at the end of the action, the first one comes off. So they could perpetually continue. So unless you're pulse waving,
Yep.
So very interesting team. He also played 3 ID cards.
Yep.
Spider-Man ID card so that he could bring in Cosmic Spider-Man.
Excellent.
Nightwing ID card so he could bring in the Nightwing LE.
Yep, from the organized play version.
Now what? I'm not familiar with that one. What Nightwing? This one has traded, improved movement, ignores elevated terrain, ignores hindering terrain. Once per game, give Nightwing a free action to place a Tony Zuko bystander token in an adjacent square, as included with this card. Oh.
Yep.
That doesn't go away after he leaves. And then he's got Charge and Flurry. Nightwing can target opposing characters with a close combat attacks regardless of elevation.
Yep.
Oh. Nightwing can use combat reflexes and defend. He's got a 17 defense.
That can still be useful.
When Nightwing is the target of a ranged combat attack, he can use super senses. But the thing is, he's giving his 17 to someone.
It can still be useful.
Yeah.
It's when things are desperate.
I mean,
that's
especially
17.
on an ID character.
Well, I was going to say, when things are desperate, that 17 could be everything. And what if you needed to go the opposite way? You need to heal somebody.
Well, that's what I think Tony Zuko comes in as, because doesn't he have... Tony Zuko can use Perplex and Support.
Yep.
With a 9 attack, 15 toughness, and that stays in there for the rest of the game, and has a 0-point
Yeah.
0 point bystander token. That's pretty cool. He also played.
Yeah, Nightwing gets to come out, drop a free dude, and join
with
the
support.
fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty insane.
He has 6 range too with dual targets. Let's not forget.
The other thing is, if for some reason Goblin King is not on his phasing teleport click, he automatically breaks away from the symbiote. If he still has that, he's got plasticity. He automatically breaks away, so he can get away from the characters, get over to the other side of Tony Zuko, so he's not adjacent to an opposing character, and get supported by Tony Zuko. That's pretty awesome. He also played the shield.
By the
levels.
way, if everything is going wrong for Goblin King, he still has double pick power. So if
That's
he
true.
still needs to, he can phase and teleport away and get healed.
That's true. The longevity. Unless you have something with good reach,
Yeah.
and even then, you got to get through whatever powers he's picked, or you better hope you got, a TK, high movement running shot pulse wave or something, because that's a lot to get through. Excuse me. His last element was a shield level 7 ID card, which he had sidelined Balls of Fury. Nick Fury from the super rare Nick Fury from
Nick Fury from
Nick Fury in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the one that does the crazy outwit and can see through everything.
Yep.
He has the Watcher's eyeballs in his hand. And I believe the Armored Hulk from that set as well.
Yep.
The Shield Hulk, the Shield Keyword Hulk. So that's a pretty good, And do you notice anything about this list that's sort of baffling over the last 8 years of HeroClix? There's something not on this list.
a resource.
That is correct.
Yeah.
There is no resource on this team. Other players, there was a lot of Goblin Kings, a lot of Jakins, and there were a lot of Kree Supreme Intelligence.
Oh, that's good.
A lot of Kree Supreme Intelligence, a lot
What
of
about
Atoms,
teleports?
and a lot of Pym tanks. Is Justice League Trinity War still?
No,
No,
the
not Justice League.
teleporter's
Oh,
in.
it's World's Finest. The Justice League. Oh, both of them are in, aren't they? The
Yeah.
Marvel one and the...
No. So the Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ID cards are in, right?
Right.
The WizKids Prize ID cards are in.
Yep.
The ones from
The Marvel and DC ones.
the Marvel and DC ones, right?
And
The World's Finest ID cards are in.
Yep.
And the teleporter is in.
Right, you're absolutely right. Which you can play both DC and Marvel ID cards on the teleporter.
Yes.
So again, we're gonna have Howard. We're gonna have an interview with Howard. He's also the director of the ROC, and he had his ROC gear on and representing. And he also played in the Team World Championship and won that with his son and his good friend. And we'll get all the info from him. We're talking to him on Sunday, and then we'll have the interview to play back next week. So we're very excited about that. All right, so let's talk about what events we just played over the course of the last couple weeks.
Well, okay, so Saturday I actually hosted here an Adam West Batman tribute.
Yes.
And Sunday here we played Avengers Defenders War.
Yep.
We had a rough time Saturday.
A rough time Saturday.
A rough time Saturday.
Oh, so tell us.
There's only 4 of us here. You had to
That's
leave.
right. I had to leave because my kids were being crazy. So tell us the build rules for what you called the Bright Knight.
Right, because obviously in honor of Adam West.
Adam West.
So you had to have a Batman. It couldn't be a dual figure or anything like that. It had to be Batman.
He shot down. I wanted to play the dynamic duo.
Yes, I felt horrible about that.
You should have.
But of course, but I had because other people asked me about other Batman
That's fine,
duos.
that's
I had
fine.
to shut it down. So you could use any carded figure. Batman you had to have a Batman.
So I couldn't have played the Caped Crusader Prime from the Batman set.
I mean, you could
It's
have.
called the Caped Crusader, though. It's not Batman.
Right, you could have played him. No, but he couldn't have been your Batman. He would have had to be less points than your Batman.
right.
So you could play other stuff on there, but Batman had to be your Batman. Anyone else had to be less points than Batman. I know that sounds rough, guys. But resources and everything else were still in. So some people felt good about bringing the utility belt with them.
I like pairing those kinds of restrictions with resources.
Yeah.
And then the opposite of that, giving free reign to every figure without resources. because I feel like that really helps to balance like the dynamic of the game and makes it a lot more fun.
You know, like Brawlers Night, where you bring like 5 brawlers that equal 1,000 points. I'm pulling this like out of my head. Like 5 brawlers who add up to 1,000 points.
I think Highlander just
they're
ran
doing
this.
one like that. Yeah,
but we'll mention that event.
But I can't remember if they get to use resources or not. But I would do something like that, but you can't use resources.
Gotcha.
Like, it's just got to be all about the sheer willpower of whatever you assemble. So if you made a Power Cosmic team, great. I make several different types of follow the leader events. Mm-hmm. It's like the small follow the leader event is like, okay, one guy can be 100 points, everybody else has to be 50 or less. Yeah. And then like the big follow the leader event is like you gotta build a main theme, you gotta build a name theme team, have your one big beefy character, and then everybody just has to be less points than the beefy character, not small points.
I built a close to 1,000 point team. The build rules were 1,000 point team, had to be a theme team, and you had to use exactly 5 figures, but you could use resources. And I built Chariot Thor, 500 points, Chariot Thor, from Hammer of Thor set. Never played him before. And then I brought in the Captain from the old Captain America set, holding the hammer. Then I brought in the Spider-Man from that set, trying to pick up the hammer. And then I think I played Deadpool holding the hammer, the Asgards. And then, if memory serves me correct, I then put Split Lip on the team and put the hammers from the Book of the Skull.
That sounds dirty fast.
It was disgusting. Yeah. It was absolutely disgusting. And I'm pretty sure I didn't even get to play in the event because there was an odd number and I was running the event, so I let everyone else play instead of giving someone a bye. So what did you play for the Bright Night?
So for the Bright Night, I played who the heck was my Batman?
I don't really remember. It wasn't one from the 66 set, was it?
No. I played I think I played Fast Forces Batman from the Joker's Wild sets. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was 75 points. I played Deadshot, which because he also had Gotham City. And I played a lot of the people. I played almost everybody else from the Joker's Wild sets. Because that way the Penguin could make somebody his whatever it is that he calls them, his... I forgot. They have so many weird traits. But anyway,
it's funny. I have that Fast Forces, and I don't think I've ever played him.
No, but he's 25 points. It's good, and then that person gets +1 to range, +1 to attack. Yeah. So like that was cool. Harley's there. If you get her on the right click, and she lives, she can bring in her hammer.
Oh, that's the one with the hammer. I actually don't have that one.
Yeah. So anyhow, not too bad. I mean, not the greatest thing ever because I actually expected more people to play.
Yeah, I thought more people were going to come up
but unfortunately,
valleys, so.
work got in their way.
So
we're running into a problem this weekend too.
Yeah, I built because I didn't actually get a chance to play it. I literally got to my first turn and my kids just got crazy. So, I decided to go with Batman in Heaven theme. So I played White Lantern Batman. I paired him with White Lantern Martian Manhunter from the monthly organized play kit. And I ran the Batcave. I love the Batcave. That was my first big OP prize. I didn't win it, but I bought it. I just love the Batcave. Comes with the utility belt. I got that
Alfred dial.
I did not use Alfred.
But there is an Alfred dial.
There is an Alfred dial, and on one of his lower clicks, you can actually pop him off and use either the Fast Forces Batman from the Batman set or the uncommon or the rare from the Batman set.
You mean Alfred, yes.
Alfred, yes.
Yeah.
And which is pretty cool. It comes with a Batcave computer, which is awesome because generally it is the last character on your force. Mm-hmm. And then when it's the last character on your force, you can literally pen side from anywhere on the map. And then I think after that it gets pulse waves. You can pulse wave from anywhere on the map.
It's wonderful.
It's pretty awesome. And then the White Lantern Batman actually starts with running shot TK, and then eventually gets pulse wave, has a stop click. And then I paired it with the utility belt. And one of my favorite tricks with the utility belt, which I usually use with the Caped Crusader, which is the Prime from the Batman set, is I put the Suit of Sorrows to give him super strength and battle fury. Mm-hmm. And he's over 100 points, so he can lift ultra heavies. now, and then when the rules change, they'll be going away. And there's
What a
click.
bizarre disappointment that is.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when that happens. And then there's a click on the utility belt that gives him +2 and exploit weakness. And actually, he may have exploit on the dial. I forget, but he has charge. Oh no, that's what it is. He has exploit on the dial for I think 3 or 4 damage, and then he gets +2 combat values, and he has charge, and then you want the flurry click, and then and then he has the attached bats, which then fly around, and then you can free action swap with the bats, and then he runs up, grabs an object. Charges, flurries, hits you for 6 or 7 in the first hit, exploit, and then follows it up with another 3 or 4 damage attack with the exploit. So that's pretty fun. But that Batman team was pretty cool, and I'm really bummed that I missed that event. But I think Martin won. Is that right?
Martin won with his crazy Kingdom Come Batman set. I think he was mad because I had previously won a Kingdom Come. Okay, it wasn't a Kingdom Come event. I had previously won with Kingdom Come Spectre at another event where we just were grabbing packs. Mm-hmm. Actually, I don't think that's why he was mad, but I just think it's really funny. But he comes to the Kingdom. So anyhow, I don't remember if I put my team together again to play him or if we threw something else together. I'm so bad at this. I do remember Sunday pretty well.
We got to start taking notes when we play.
Yeah, well, I think it's just because it just became such a little bit of a blah night because
not a lot of people showed up. So.
Yeah, not a lot of people showed up. Where we had a better turnout on Sunday. I showed up a freaking hour late.
Oh really?
I don't know why. I swear I saw 3 on the event system, and I'm like, oh, I'm running late for 3. Nope, I was running late for 2.
Oh wow. So I was not there on Sunday because it was Father's Day. I was in another special place, which I'll talk about on a future show.
Ticonderoga.
I was in Ticonderoga, but we'll talk about that later. So this was Avengers Defenders. So you had to build a 300-point. Was it 300 points?
300-point Defenders, 300-point Avengers team.
Theme teams, 2 different teams.
Yep.
And then whoever won the map roll initiative got to choose which team or got to defer that choice to the other player.
Right. And then you had to, if I chose the teams, you chose the map and vice versa.
Gotcha. And then so you chose what team you wanted to play, and then the other player had to play the opposing team. So so what did you play for that?
So I had a Defenders team with the captain, Wasp, who could swap in and out. Mm-hmm. I gave them the Green Lantern power battery. No, the Blue Lantern power battery.
Ooh, that makes sense.
I also
Defenders
played Avengers of Hope, right? And I also gave them who else was on? Black Panther was on there with his swap. So that was my Avengers team with the Blue Lantern battery, and I don't know. Obviously, I wanted the thing for shape change. That was definitely there. I didn't pay too much attention to what else was on there, and I still got my butt handed to me by Billy. My Defenders team was
that was your Avengers team.
That was Avengers, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was your Defenders.
Wasp and the Captain.
Oh, okay. So your Defenders team.
Defenders team was the Book of Skull.
Okay. I love that resource.
Very good. Of course, no split lip, so I had to pick the hammers up the slow way, but it was good. I had Valkyrie
from
the new set.
From the new set, okay.
I had Doctor Strange from the new set, so you could swap in and out with the I carry everybody one.
Yep.
The Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And Valkyrie, the Hulk, Doctor Strange. Who am I forgetting?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I know, but it's just like what they're all from the set. Avengers Defender sets.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to think like who's the defender I'm missing. Doesn't matter. Anyhow, it was good. Again, got my butt handed to me. I did get some points the second match, and I got points from the bye, thankfully. Mm-hmm. So that was helpful.
So who ended up winning that event?
Billy, of course. To be clear, was your Billy's Olesky? And so like he
He's a
had
very good player. I taught him everything he knows.
So
That's not
and then he became the destroyer of worlds.
It's destroys.
He had Namor to produce the Atlantean tokens.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just horrible.
He told me what his team was going to be.
Yeah,
too.
he had the Defenders. Or no, she was an Avenger. He had Avengers Valkyrie,
Right.
from
the one that
Fear Itself.
that when any character is KO'd, you can replace that character. You can put Valkyrie in the space where
Right.
they
So
were. It's
whenever
a placement.
whenever I KO'd a stupid token, Valkyrie was there.
So
and
you pop out, you give him a double power action for 2 tokens, right? For
Yep.
2 Atlanteans. You move the Atlantean up.
Yep.
You you do something with the Atlantean to give him an action token. You get it set up. And then you give the other Atlantean an action, so he has an action token. So you get it set up. Then you pass turn. Then they take their turn. Then you come back. Then you push the first Atlantean up, so he gets 2 tokens, and because it doesn't have willpower or indomitable, it gets KO'd.
Right, and she can move.
She doesn't. She gets placed there. Then she takes an action to attack.
Yep.
And she has some pretty good powers. For
Yeah,
that.
ridiculous.
She has.
especially when she's possessed by Ophidian
Oh my god.
and using the Orange Lantern.
I can't spell that.
Just put Valk.
So from Fear Itself, she has. So she starts off with. She's 130 points. She's got Offender's team ability, 0 range. She has a 10 charge, an 11 special attack. Valkyrie can use Blades, Claws, Fangs, and Flurry. Mm-hmm. She has a 17 toughness, which doesn't really matter in this situation. And then she has a 3 damage leadership.
And then it
She-
doesn't
and
matter
then
in
her
the situation
traded-
because then she can choose from Ophidian the outwit power where I outwit you and I steal that ability for myself.
Yeah.
She could choose his defensive power. Oh my god! And then the power
So
battery.
then she attacks. She flurries.
Yeah.
She does her damage.
Yep.
And then what he does is he keeps the other Atlantean back in his starting area next
Yeah.
to Namor, moves it, pushes it, KOs it, and then places Valkyrie back in the starting area.
Yeah.
And then clears Namor, so he sets up to do it again.
Oh, and then the power battery that can always power itself, right? It's like, oh, power action. I can use charge, and none of your guys can. Sorry, Black Panther. Sorry, the Captain. You guys can't use charge, but Valkyrie can. Yeah. So between the battery and her outwit and just the tokens, the pod guys just kept coming. I was obliterated.
Billy just has a very
Actually,
his
I wasn't
mind is just in
obliterated.
that game.
I actually am proud. I wasn't completely obliterated. I don't think. I think the captain was the last one standing. Nope, he obliterated me. Captain was the last one standing. He obliterated me, but it was close to the clock, so I didn't feel too bad. I hate when Billy obliterates me in 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's always nice to play a long game with Billy. I enjoy my games with Billy very much now. So let's talk. Well, he's made me a better player, which is good. I mean, that's the thing.
yeah.
You got to have that attitude. Or else
It's that. I mean, that's
you're
what
not gonna
I have
last.
Mexican Dave for, so that's good.
That's yes.
It's not the only reason I have him. He's a good
Okay.
friend.
So let's talk about upcoming events, and then we'll sign off for the night. Kerwin's is closed this weekend for renovations, which is very cool. We're gonna have some
Fabulous
we're doing
renovations.
It's looking very good. They already did the carpet on one side, so I'm very excited about that. And then let's talk. There's a big event going on in New Jersey this weekend at
Highlander.
the toy. No, it's not at Highlander.
Oh, that's right. Highlander's
it's at the toy
hosting it
fair.
at the
yeah,
toy fair.
Highlander Comics and Games is hosting a big event. It's called the Highlander Open. It's their own event. It's their own thing, and they have a plethora of events and formats to play, including the Brawler format. Prison Break is one of them. I believe they're doing some kind of a constructed event as well, Battle Royales, and I believe they're going all night, Saturday night, all night into Sunday. So it should be very fun. Scott from, I believe Scott's the owner of Highlander Comics.
Yes.
He invited me down to take a look at that. I unfortunately can't get away because, kids and family. But the following weekend, so if you're in the New Jersey area, if you're in an hour or two drive like we are, please go down and check it out. It's going to be amazing. Kenny Pena is one of the TOs down there. He's a great player and a great judge, and he'll take good care of you. Tell him I said hi. And then the following weekend, July 1st and 2nd, we're having an event on July 2nd, which is It Takes a Squad. Build a 300-point team with characters that do not cost more than 50 points to play. So that should be very fun. I like those low point events. You know, I can bring out the
Well, now we have all these great low point characters too.
yeah. And then we have another big event. We're having our grand reopening on July 7th through the 9th. That coincides with the latest Magic pre-release, Hour of Devastation. We're doing a whole bunch of events, including a midnight Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, an overnight Warhammer Apocalypse game. On Saturday, we're having, and all of our events on Friday, except for the pre-release event, I believe, are free. And then we have big prizes on Saturday and Sunday. And on Sunday, we're having a HeroClix Grand Reopening Modern tournament. So we're celebrating the new modern age of HeroClix. Rotation was just this past June, right?
Yeah.
So,
You mean we haven't been celebrating rotation yet?
I have. Well, not here. We haven't done any events that were just modern.
That's true.
I like to give it a couple weeks. I mean, unless there's like an ROC coming up or WizKids Open or something like that. So, and we're giving away the Gray Cage convention exclusive.
Gray Cage.
And the Wolverine.
Right, who has
Vampire
the
Wolverine.
Alliance team affiliation. Because he's made after a guy who works at Alliance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's...
And he has fist constructs to actually come off.
Oh, wow.
And the Alliance ability is, team ability is basically Team Superman.
Oh, okay. The hindering, sees through hindering.
Yes, sees through hindering, moves through hindering. It's good.
Um,
It's a good piece.
So yeah, so that's in our Catskill, that's in Catskill, New York, at our at Kerwin's Game Store. So if you're in the area on that
Right
weekend,
on Main Street.
Yeah, we've got some other events going on that weekend. Saturday we've got a Dice Masters Golden Age only tournament. Some rotation just happened for the first time in that game, and we're doing a Golden Age only tournament. And then we're also doing a Star Wars Destiny sealed event, which is a very unique format for that game.
When is the Star Wars Destiny?
Saturday, July 8th.
At what time?
It is 2 p.m. 2 p.m. 2 p.m.
I'm like curious about that game, but
I can show you a demo. We've got demo copies here.
that's
I can show you the
great.
game
We should put the whole thing on video.
We can do that. All right. I think that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I am Tony Cox. You can tweet at me at Tony on a Mountain.
I'm Clifford Parmenter, and you could tweet at me at CliffordNY.
And this has been Read, Watch, Play, and we hope you join us next week, Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Streaming live. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.